Thank you for staying tuned. And if you're just joining us tonight, we're talking about Nigeria, of course, 65 years later. And we're asking, has Nigeria truly justified its independence? Let's hear your thoughts. Remember, you can join the conversation by sending me an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. And my phone lines are now open. You can call me on 070-2500-7749 or 0701-4242-420. Let's hear your thoughts. Now, 65 years after independence, Nigeria still finds itself wrestling with big questions. Have we truly lived up to the hopes of our founding fathers? Have we built a nation where freedom translates into prosperity, security, dignity for every citizen? Or are we still, struggling to justify the promise of independence? So tonight we will, reflect on the journey so far. We'll be digging deep into the state of the nation and the progress made and the gaps that remain. So joining me in this conversation to help us unpack these issues, I have Professor Chris Nwokobia Jr., the convener of Country First Movement, a good governance advocacy group, and, an advocate of the Emergence Coalition. Good evening, Professor, and thank you for joining me this evening.
Good evening, to you.
I'm good. Thank you so much again. Now, Nigeria is 65. I mean, a 65-year-old father can be a granddad now, right? So
that's correct.
Yeah. So, in 1960, independence came with promises of unity, prosperity, self-governance. We were anticipating, self-governance. So looking back now, do you think our founding fathers will be proud of us, of how far we've come?
Let me start by saying, oftentimes when we are an issue about I can understand how the country is fed. What does it deal in fact that when the we say just started to be the overaged infant, the child adult, then I know in fact has lived through the place of his parents and would find fun without the title. I think
Prof, sir, can you hear me? Okay, please, I don't know, your network is a bit shaky and the audio is not good at all. Do you think you can leave the meeting and join back? We'll go on a short break and then when you get that fixed, we'll come back.
Nigeria is not stable. Instead of us going forward, we are going back. The Nigeria economy is very bad. Nigeria being 65 is not again. Normally, I will just purposely say it. Understand? So we are not getting anything from them.
65 years and counting. Nigeria's Independence Day anniversary celebration, yet again, stands on a threshold of progress, reflecting on past opportunities since 1960. So today, in our bid to take stock, evaluate, re-evaluate on the journey so far, we've decided to take to the streets to find out from businessmen and women their thoughts on the current state of the nation. Come with us.
Let us call a spade a spade. If somebody say Nigeria is good, that person is playing with himself. Because I have been in this country for so many years now, almost that 60-something years. I have not seen any changes. 65 on Wednesday. We never see anything. We never see any changes that is giving us joy. Everybody is not happy. In our business now, everything is very costly. For somebody to buy something now is not easy. You go to market and buy something 10,000. Tomorrow you go and buy it 20,000. The other day again 50,000. Nobody is feeling joy. We don't have joy in us again.
65 years and is for nothing. Understand? It's nothing because we are not getting anything from them. Even they are even talking about the children of how many years now? So understand? They are saying that they are leaders of tomorrow. And since how many years? Okay, I finished my school since 2010, and I'm part of the leaders of tomorrow. And up till now, understand? Even the man that senior my father, understand? Is still leading us. So how are we going forward with the wrong people that we have in our government? So Nigeria being 65 is nothing. Normally, I will just purposely say it. Understand? So we are not getting anything from them.
As a Nigeria, 65 years, if you look at what is going on now, I can say even the poor man has suffered for it most. The rich man too, that won't cry for it most. Because before, me too, I used a car. I bought fuel of 10,000 to go to Lakwe for 3 days. But now, fuel of 30,000 now cannot carry to Lakwe for 2 days. That shows that Nigeria need a change. Nigeria need a change. We are not doing it right. If you look at what is going on in Nigeria, so couple that will be buying one rubber of paint before, they will be buying 1 derrick of rice. Why? Because the rice is expensive. Okay, look at it. We say we have rice in Nigeria, and the expense of rice in Nigeria is still higher than the same quality in foreign. At least let Nigeria rice be okay. If the price is lesser, we buy our rice. Èkíní ebi ó pọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà ebi pọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà nísìn gbogbo nǹkan wọ́n gógógó kò sówó kò sọ́jà òun rèé sì ẹja yìí sì tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn ta 3,000 per kilo nísìn 6,000 per kilo ní ẹja yìí ẹja wọn broker wọn ẹran wọn titus wọn gbogbo ẹ wọn àárín kọ̀ọ̀kan bronze yìí tẹ́lẹ̀ 3,000 per kilo nísìn márùn-ún ẹ̀ 20,000 per kilo. So ẹni tẹ́bi ò bá padé bí processing kò lè jẹ́. Nàìjíríà ìnira ti pọ̀ jù, ọlọ́mọ ni wá lára.
And there we have it. You see, independence is beyond raising a flag. It's about raising people. Nigeria 65 is a story of resilience and also a story of citizens who refuses to give up on a dream. But sadly, it's also a story and a cry for change. Nigerians are calling for better leadership. Nigerians are calling for stronger institutions. And above all, they're calling for an economy that favors everyone. So right now, the question is not if we can rise as a nation. The question is when and how can we rise? And above all, if we can achieve, finally, the dreams of our heroes past. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. Welcome back. Sorry for the little breaking transmission. We are back talking about the journey so far. Nigeria is 65 years. We're trying to find out from our guests and then, of course, from you as my viewers, if you think that this independence has truly been justified. And I have Professor Wokobia, Chris. Prof, are you back with us? Oh, great. Yes,
Yes, I am. Can you hear me well now?
You sound well, yes. Yeah, so I was asking you before I cut you off. So where are we? You know, would you think our founding fathers would be proud of us 65 years later?
And I'm saying that our founding fathers, on the one hand, would say that the country they bettered on the 1st of October 1960 is still there. They would say that the name Nigeria is still amongst the names of nations and the world. They would say that Nigeria still have leaders who every October 1st, will address the nation and say nice things. But have we fared well? I listened to the Vox Pop, and you can hear Nigerians calling a spade by its name.
Yeah.
We have a 65-year-old grandfather, so to say, who hasn't done well. We have a 65-year-old who hasn't fulfilled the promises of democracy and the promises of independence. We have a nation that should, as it were, lead Africa in every respect of success and strides. Remember, it was Nelson Mandela who said, I think it was in 1995 or so, that Africa is waiting for Nigeria to fulfill its potentials. That when Nigeria leads the way, Africa will rise to become a true global leader. Unfortunately, most of these expectations have been thrown in the dustbin of history. Unfortunately, leadership has continually and continuously failed the people. But I want to speak to the issues deeply and very sincerely. You know, most of the problems we have as a nation has been what we call our fault lines.
Okay.
One is the fact that Nigerians are grossly and largely ethnocentric. The other is the fact that creed, religion, and region has become a fundamental issue in a socio-political discussion and our electioneering processes. We have downplayed issues that border on patriotism. We have downplayed issues that border on competency, capacity, and commitment to the common good. And we have left the fundamental issues unattended and unaddressed. If we truly want our country to succeed, we must rise above those ethnic, religious, and primordial cocoonery. And that is where almost always, when I'm asked to address Nigeria, I say to people that our founding fathers made the first mistakes. We had false starts. Our founding fathers dealt more on issues about region and religion, about ethnocentric issues rather than about leadership recruitment based on competency, capacity, and commitment to the good of our country. So if we want to rediscover our country, if we want a national reset, if we want a country that can walk and get out of the nadir to promise, then we must reevaluate issues that border on recruitment protocol. What am I trying to say? For the ordinary schoolboy who's out there listening to us, we must begin to redefine our recruitment processes because leaders do not emerge from Mars or Jupiter.
That's right.
Our leaders come from amongst us, which obviously means that we have family units to re-engineer. Leaders at home must begin to train their siblings and their children on values and integrity. Leaders at school, primary teachers, secondary school teachers must begin to reevaluate and teach our children to think and work predicated on competency, capacity, and credibility and integrity, if you like. Universities, there must be a major overhaul of our collective values as a nation because at the core of our failure is the fact that we have left matters of security unaddressed. At the core of our failure is the fact that we have left issues about infrastructural growth unaddressed, and largely because corruptive and corruptible tendencies in leadership has been hailed by the people. You know, Chioma,
Yes,
that one of our greatest problems is the fact that when a thief is from your ethnicity, you oblige him.
That's right.
When a thief shares the same religion as you do, you oblige him. And that has become our nemesis as a nation. You know, you can't build a country with corruption, where corruption is rife, and think that that country will succeed. So what we need is a major value orientation, reorientation, if you like. And what we need is to call a spade by its name. I woke up very early this morning, as early as about 1 a.m. Houston time, to listen to the president's address.
Yeah.
You know, and I listened to him and I shook my head. I said, until Nigerians and Nigeria learns to be true to what it says on paper,
Yeah.
until we understand that truth is what can set a people free and a nation free, until we stop gaslighting our people and ourselves on issues of national growth and progress, our search for the new republic will be like the wait for Godot. And what am I trying to say? Our president told us that we've come off the bend and that we have a GDP growth that is fantastic and better than any since 2019. And that means that we have only succeeded in going back to 2019. It also means that before 2019, our GDP was better. So it means that there's a lot of work to be done. It means that we haven't truly come off the bend.
Yes.
It means that we aren't there yet, or we haven't even truly started the journey. And then he admitted that there was corruption in the oil sector. He called it the corruption in the subsidy sector. And then you ask yourself, those who stole the monies, those who fleeced our country of huge resources in the name of subsidy, what have they done with them?
Exactly.
I was enamored with and by your opening remark when you talked about the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, and you raised issues as to, okay, if monies were allegedly stolen or diverted, what has become of those monies and how?
Exactly.
You know, my late father told me that until we create monuments of reference and monuments of deterrence, our search for the beloved republic will be distant. We must make examples of those who consistently loot our resources, such that generation next will be able to point hands and say, oh no, I won't steal, I won't loot the resources of this country, because this is what was done by the nation to those who looted her resources. But here, it's unfortunate that on the one hand, we want a nation that works, and then on the other hand, we oblige and praise those who looted our collective patrimony. So I believe that the way to the future that we seek, because I do not intend to cry wolf throughout this interview, I would intend to help lay a template for the Nigeria that we seek.
We're going to come to that. But I'm really glad you mentioned Betta Edu, because, yes, when I saw that news this morning, I was thinking, how does she have this audacity to come out and put out a goodwill message? Because you should be in hiding, or better still, be in jail. 585 billion is a lot of money for you to be smiling and tweeting and sending out press statements. And it's really sad, because it doesn't teach, like you said, generation next anything, right? And then, yes, the president spoke on the GDP, and last time we saw, it rose to like 4.23%. And, oh, everybody is glad, oh, we're doing well. But then I also had the privilege of talking to average Nigerians, and I'm like, it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't reflect in my daily reality, right? So that brings me, right, to asking, Nigeria is Africa's largest economy, you know, but poverty levels remains very, you know, stubbornly high. So why hasn't the economic growth translated to real development in this country, really?
No, I think that the problem simply is about sexed up figures, compromised statistics, and figures that are very untrue largely. And that's why I said that we must learn to remove from the tendency of making falsehood an act of state. You know, when the Nigerian, that successful and great woman, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is the chairman, the director general of the World Trade Organization, came here, and she talked about the economy stabilizing. She put a caveat that this government must ensure that it works for the good of the masses of our people. On the one hand, he said it must impact on the lives of the people. You cannot say that a nation or an economy is working if it does not affect the lives of the people. And you know what, Chioma, the basic reason for which governments exist is for the protection of lives and properties and the
Yes.
well-being of the people. And if, as we all see, Nigeria has become the country with the highest number of IDPs in the world, a country that is not in war, then there is something to worry about. If Nigerians are drifting into the poverty bracket, it is arguably the basic global statistics that we have the highest number of poor people in the world. You know, if that is how bad it has become, then what our leaders should do and must do is to fold their sleeves,
And get to work.
tighten up their bootstraps, stop these platitudes and gaslighting, and get to work. That is what we must do if we want our country to succeed. And let me add this, because I know that quite a lot of Nigerians are listening. The street to a successful nation is paved with critical assessment of leadership. Chioma, the best street in any developed country, and I'm speaking I'm speaking poetically, if you like, and I'm speaking deeply, is a street called constructive criticism. The best boulevard in every great nation is the boulevard called patriotism.
Yeah.
Nigerians must understand that leadership can only impact effectively if we see those who are critical of governance and leadership as patriots, as fellow travelers on the path to progress. You know, when I hear people say that, oh, you don't like the president, oh, you hate the president, I ask myself, where do they get these assessments from? How can a man hate his country and hate his president? What we
Exactly.
want are leaders who are responsible and responsive to the people. And the call today is for Nigerians across ethnic divides and across religious divides to call leadership dispassionately and say to those who govern this country that they must be true to what they say on paper. Chioma, I don't know whether when you go to the market, the trader or the seller asks you first whether you're Igbo before she sells tomato to you.
No, they don't.
I do not know whether she asks whether you're Labour Party, whether you're PDP, whether you're APC or ADC before she sells to us. We must understand that what affects one directly affects the other indirectly. And if we must remove from this jangling discord of poverty, disease, despondency, and want, we must call a spade by its name.
All right, Prof.
And very importantly, Choma, let me say this, that
Okay.
when you fly an aircraft, when you travel by plane, you do not walk up the stairs to ask first whether the pilot is Igbo, Hausa,
That's
or
right.
Yoruba.
Yes.
You do not go in the cockpit to ask whether the pilot is a Christian.
Yes.
So we must understand that going forward, whoever holds sway in a country that you want to succeed, you must remove from assessing that person based on his ethnicity or religion. We must begin forthwith to address leaders based on competency, capacity, and commitment to the common good. First, because save and except we do that, come 2027, come 2026, October 1st, it will be the same old story of a nation mighty in potentials, but few unrealistic achievements.
All right. I really do wish we have more time, you know. But then let me ask you this, you know, speaking to the youth now in Nigeria, we have a wave of Japa syndrome, like we know, of course. I mean, it's not just the youth. We're seeing families moving their whole, every member of the family outside of this country because we're seeking better opportunities. Now, as many Nigerians are leaving, it just shows that they no longer believe, you know, in the Nigerian dream. What does this say to our independence journey, really?
Now, I think that you have raised something that's very dear to me.
Okay.
How do we inspire patriotism?
Yes.
How do we make Nigerians begin to think again about Nigeria? Because
Yes.
we had a country where Nigerians will go overseas to study, and immediately after their program, they're back home.
Yes.
The Awolowo's of this world, the Nnamdi Azikiwe's of this world, the leaders of our first republic, most of them studied overseas, but came back immediately after to contribute to national development.
Yes.
Why do we have something in the reverse, where Nigerians train even at home and they are waiting to japa, they are waiting to run away? The first thing to note, like I said, is we must review our recruitment process, leadership recruitment. We must begin to look for men not based on their ethnicity or religion, but on competency and capacity. Because when Nigeria begins to work, if you have leadership that shows a strong sense of direction, nobody will run away. Nigeria is arguably the most endowed country in the world. We have amazing resources, amazing potentials. Go around the world. I'll give you an instance. I traveled from Nigeria here for medicals. I got here, and the expert that is attending to me is Nigerian.
Amazing.
The person in charge of my physiotherapy is Nigerian. The people who are doing excellently well here in the United States of America are Nigerians. And then there is this statistics that is so wonderful. When you hear it, you want to be proud over and over again of your Nigerianness. And that's the fact that the most lettered, the most literate immigrant community in America is the Nigerian community, not the Jewish community, not the Hispanics. It's the Nigerian community. And if Nigerians are doing so well all over the world, why is home not exciting?
Yeah.
And that is because the recruitment protocol and recruitment process in Nigeria is almost at best mediocre. We must begin, therefore, as a people, going forward, raise mentors who will mentor our young people. Because you know what, Chioma, if we don't address these fundamental issues, we're in trouble. Because 70% of the Nigerian population are people 30 years and below. Most people don't know that. The generation, what you call the alpha generation, Gen Alpha, age 0 to 12, are about 30% of our population. Then what you call the Gen Z generation, generation 12 to 28, are about 28% of our population. And then you worry if we do not do something quickly to address these fundamental issues. And I do sincerely believe that this calls for leadership training, this calls for mentorship.
Yes.
We must admit that leadership has failed us, and so has followership. Because if our followers understand that at home they are the leaders, and our mothers and our fathers decide to train their children with good values, then we'll have a basket full of potential leaders who have credibility, capacity, and integrity.
Right.
What we must begin to do also is to engage our teachers, both the secondary school and primary school level and at tertiary institution, and tell them that they must begin to teach our children that hard work, integrity, and credibility pays. And then what we must do as people in the media, the civil society, and the political parties and organizations, we must begin to tell our people that a nation that recruits mediocres is a nation bound to fail.
Oh, yes.
And that what is important for us is to trounce ethnicity, trounce religion, trounce region, and go for competency, capacity, and commitment to our collective good.
All right, Prof. All right. This is brilliant, right? Because I like the part you said, well, it's not just about the leadership, it's about the followership. Because you have to be a good follower to even lead. All right? Just before I ask you my next question, before we go, we have a comment on YouTube. This person says, this person is Osayuwamen Saleh. She says, when you criticize the government constructively, it is perceived you dislike the government. we must first rid ourselves of that mindset to move forward. And I totally agree. I really agree, because tell me why somebody would air his or her opinion on social media, online, and then you hunt the person down. We've seen it happen countless times in this nation. And we're not getting anywhere if we do that, if we continue in that line, Anyway, Prof, before I let you go, I really do wish I had more time, but if you were to score Nigeria, let's say in 1 minute, if you were to score Nigeria on a scale of 1 to 10, generally, what would it be and why?
It will be 4/10. 4/10, and I'm very generous with that score, because if after 65 years we have the highest number of internally displaced people out of wartime, we're not in war, then it's a tragedy. If after 65 years we do not have energy sufficiency, then it's something that calls us to a collective challenge. If after 65 years what we have are Nigerians scoring leadership based on ethnicity and religion rather than competency and capacity, then we're in trouble. So I think that 4/10 is generous, but like Saleh noted in that tweet, which is very important and which is instructive, I have said here that the best truth in every civilized and developed country is this truth, aphoristically called patriotism, is this truth called constructive criticism, is this truth called divergent opinion. Because, see, we all love our country, and patriotism demands that we assess leadership based on performance, not on ethnicity, not on religion, not on the basis of where that person is from. And I criticized Buhari very profusely, and I'm criticizing Tinubu profoundly, not because he's Yoruba or Muslim, but because Nigeria deserves and demands better.
Absolutely.
I think that the way forward for all of us is to understand and aggregate at that point where we must agree that if Nigeria is working, it's working for all of us. And if Nigeria is failing, it's affecting all of us. You don't go to the market with an ID card that says you're APC or Yoruba. You don't go to the market with the card that says you're Igbo or your Labour Party or your PDP. No. The prices of goods and services does not demand an ID card that says you're Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or the minorities. It does not ask whether you're Christian or Muslim or a traditionalist. So when we understand this reality, we will move forward to begin to demand for responsible and responsive leadership. We'll move forward to begin to call a spade by its name, and we will say to those who pretend over this country that leadership must lead by examples.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much. Brilliant insights, Professor Chris Nwokobia. Thank you so much, and we hope to invite you some other time for these conversations. Do have a great evening, and happy Independence Day to you.
Same to you.
All right. Oh, my goodness. He says it all, right? We need to start working on credibility, competence, because we're losing it at this point in Nigeria. And you see, 65 years later, we stand at a crossroad as a nation. We have survived coups, civil wars, dictatorship, and even economic crisis. We have also witnessed resilience and creativity and the enduring spirit of our people. But independence, like I said earlier, is not just about waving a flag. It's about building a nation where freedom translates to dignity, prosperity, and justice for every citizen. That is the unfinished task before us. So tonight, as we're marking the 65 years, celebrating and all whatnot, let us not only ask whether Nigeria has justified independence, but how we, the people, can demand and drive the change that will. Because, you see, true independence is not just freedom from colonial rule. It's freedom from hunger, corruption, fear, despair, panic attacks. I mean, just a few days ago, we saw the news of an Arise TV anchor who was killed. Who died, armed robbery. These are the reasons we're asking for a better nation, right? We've been freed from the colonial rules, and now we're in bondage of these things in the nation. Let's do better. As we're marking 65 years, let's go back in retrospect and have a reflection of how we can move this country forward. Leadership or not, you as a citizen, you have the right, you have every responsibility, to do your own part. That's it. Do your own part and let everyone fix their own part. My dad used to say, if everybody sweep the front of their houses, the compound will be clean. Let's do the right things, you know, required of us. And that's all I have for you tonight. Before I go, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Freak Show Upgrade TV. Interact with us. This particular conversation is not over. Drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our social media engagements. Like, share, comment, invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. If you missed our quote by our dearest president, here it is. He says, with Almighty God on our side, I can assure you that the dawn of a new, prosperous, self-reliant Nigeria is here. My name is Chioma Kalu, and this has been Waste Prime Time. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.